Okay, hey y'all, my name is Chelsea. You're watching this video because you expressed interest in apartment shopping, mystery apartment shopping. My original post in the Facebook group was for me to get opportunities, but instead I was flooded with people interested in doing apartment shopping, which I have no issue with. However, because of that, I still don't have an additional income, and I'm doing this for free. I took my time and I copy and pasted every single email that was in the thread. And now I'm recording this video, and I took notes that I'm going to be discussing. So it'll be nice if you can cash at me $5 or Venmo or PayPal, whatever is on your heart, but I prefer 5 because I'm giving you free game, but I don't want to give it to you for free, so I just feel like you should pay me. That's just that on that. Now, before we start, I talk really fast, and I only have a 15-minute limit, and I got a lot to talk about. So if you need to rewind, pause, do all that, get a notebook, and we're going to go from here. Now, first things first. What is mystery apartment shopping? It is a means of evaluating customer service of different apartment complex. It is none of your business whether or not they're using this against people. It's none of your business whether or not they are using this to micromanage. You just came to get your money and go home. Next thing, where I've done it. I started doing this in Texas. I did it in Louisiana. I did it in Mississippi. I did it in Alabama, Georgia, Florida, St. Louis area, all of that. You can travel with this. You don't have to travel, but you can. So be mindful though. Don't try to go out of your radius. When I say your radius, like don't try to go more than 15 miles to go do a shop if you don't have to, or if you don't necessarily have the means to do so. I only did it in all those places because I would drive around to different places. I've lived in Texas, I've lived in Mississippi, and I'm living in Chicago, and home is like in the St. Louis area, so I've never done it in Chicago. Side note, if you feel like you need to snitch, you need to exit off this video, number 1. Number 2, if you do feel like you need to snitch, regardless of that, I have not done this in the city of Chicago or in the state of Illinois, just to make that very clear. Also, I'm not that diplomatic, so if I find out somebody's snitching, we're going to have some problems. And for those who don't know what snitching means, it means telling, tattletelling. Anywho, next thing, you can travel with this. Also, make sure you sign up with an email that you do not mind getting spam. They will send you emails every single day, and no, you cannot unsubscribe from them, because if you unsubscribe, you are telling them that I no longer want to be available for shops. So be mindful of that. I made that mistake of putting it on my normal personal email that I always check, and I get tired of it. Next thing, your first check will be in a paper check. So make sure you have the correct address on your profile, because if it goes to your mama house or wherever other than where you are, you will probably be sick about it. Next thing, the types of shops. Now this is the nitty gritty of it all. This may take a little while longer. Brace yourself. Now, types of shops. A shop is when you go and survey the location or survey the person. Now with that, all shops require some form of a phone call. And for the shop that's most popular, which is the in-person shop, that's going to take about 2 hours. Video shops take just as long too. Now with that, a telephone shop, I've only seen it available on the West Coast. However, a telephone shop only pays $5, and that's because it does not take up a lot of your time and you don't have to do a lot of stuff. It's very low effort. I've only seen those on the West Coast. They may be available wherever else you live. Just click the different tabs once you go to find shops and you will see. Video shop. So video shop, like I said, all shops include phone calls. So video shop is a phone call plus recording during your tour. Now, you can buy your own products, but I recommend you getting products from them. They will send you a recorder, a camera recorder. It only costs $10, so they'll take it from your check, or you can pay them directly. And it's like a little square you put behind your shirt to button. They only come in black, so buy a black shirt or something dark with black buttons. And you can wear it at the top or the middle, not top and middle, but top or the second. Depends on how tall you are or how short you are. But you don't have to walk around like a chicken with your chest poked out. Like, that's not necessary. It will get what you need, what it needs to get. Those pay a little more. So the starting price that I've seen is $50, and the most I've seen is $65. That's not including bonuses. And then lastly is an in-person shop. So that's a phone visit. A phone call, an in-person visit, and in-person visit. Now with that, like I said, all shops require a phone call. They will give you a prompt on what to ask for or what to say or a general basis of what to talk about. But a lot of phone calls don't take that long. Sometimes you do have to call multiple times, but all phone calls are recorded. Talking too fast. I'm at 5 minutes already. But yeah, they're all recorded. They will give you a special number to dial when you are doing your telephone shops or dial through. Next thing, shops are always available. Always. However, new batches come out 3 to 5 days before the first of the month. So I know some people, the first of the month come around, they thinking like, oh, I ain't got a penny pinch no more, blah, blah, blah. That's the best time to do your shopping because that's when all the new ones are there. Or if you want to do it at the end of the month, that's a good time too. Either way, you get paid once a month, which is the 22nd of each month. So if you get paid bi-weekly or you get paid once a month in general, the 22nd, that's a nice area or time of the month to get another check for this. Next thing, best time to shop is during the weekday. So make sure you request off of work. Now, there are some places that are open on Saturdays, but not all of them are. Either way, the shop will tell you whether or not you can shop on the weekend or if you can shop during the weekday. Majority of them are going to be during the weekday. So you need to request time off work because it takes more than a lunch hour. And lunch hour is just not a good time to go because people take lunch. Other people take lunch too. So with that, y'all are grown. What you do on your work lunch or your day off is your business. Just be mindful that this is apartment shopping. So if you happen to work in housing, then that may be an area of conflict. But how are they going to know? Honestly, because I'm not copying everybody's emails. BCC. So like I said, you grown. Do what you got to do. And I definitely did it at some jobs I had before. But let me be clear. I have not done it at the job that I'm at now, in case you want to snitch. But yeah, with that though, only take time off of work if you have 2 or more shops because shops take a while and you want to make it worthwhile to get the money. Now, what I used to do at one of my jobs is that I would take the whole day off and I can get 3 or 4 shops done in that day. Or I would do a half day and I can get 2 shops done in a half day. Now, there are some apartment complexes that close like at 6 or 7. So you might be able to squeeze in if you get off work at 4:30 or 5. But just be considerate that the thing will tell you when you can do the shop, which is Monday through Friday. It is up to you to Google or ask the people when you're doing your telephone thing when they close. Be mindful of due dates. So yeah, each shop has a due date. It'll be listed in the announcement of the shop. You can ask for extensions. Don't make it a habit because they try to get everything in, I want to say by the 15th. So new shops come out like on the 1st. They try to get everything by the 15th so people can get paid by the 22nd and so they can give the management companies of these apartment complexes their evaluations that you're going to do. Something to keep in mind while you're doing your thing. First up, let me pause. Ooh, I've been talking fast. Now, things to keep in mind. Take notes while you are doing your tour. You can take a notebook. You can take your phone and do voice memo record. You can put notes in your phone, whatever the case may be. They will not find that weird that you're doing that. You can also take photos, which further add value to your shop or your tour that you're doing. So with that, you got to be like Carmen Sandiego. I wrote that down. Be like Carmen Sandiego. You have to, in your evaluation, they will ask you, who did you tour with? What did they look like? What was their eye color? What was their hair color? What was their perceived ethnicity? What were they wearing? They will ask you that. You need to know that. Make sure you take note of it. Also document what you saw and what was discussed. The reason why they want to know what was discussed is because there are certain things that these leasing agents can and can't say or insinuate. So you can ask them certain questions, and once you do your first evaluation, you will learn what questions to ask and what not to ask. My favorite question to ask is what type of people live here, because that is open-ended. Always ask open-ended questions. It's open-ended, and I just want to see what they're going to say. So something they shouldn't be saying is that only college students live here or only Muslim people live here. They shouldn't be saying anything like that because obviously it opens those people up to threat or discrimination or whatever the case may be. So I ask them things like that, but like be mindful of what you ask and what they ask, because they may ask you like, so what are you doing here, or what brings you here, which is okay for them to ask. But sometimes people, unfortunately, we've seen it before, especially if you're a person of color, or if you are low SES or first gen, or like first gen in college status or immigration status, people might ask you some things that are very inappropriate that they have no business asking you. That's why they want to know. Document all of that. When you do your first evaluation, my recommendation, this is like the most important recommendation I'm going to offer, always copy and paste the entire recommendation. The entire evaluation and save it somewhere. That way, every time you do a shop, you are already completing it and checking off things you should know. Because, like I said in the beginning, the total time for a shop that's in person or video is about 2 hours or an hour and a half. I'll say an hour and a half, because the tour is going to be an hour. The phone call may be 10 minutes to 15 minutes, depending on if you catch your target. But the evaluation, that's where the rest of that time comes from. You're going to need 20 to 30 minutes to do the evaluation. So pro tip number 2 that you need to absolutely do is make sure you're doing your evaluations on a computer or an iPad. Don't do it on your phone, because the layout of the website will not adjust to a phone screen. So you're going to think that you're completing it and answering everything, and you're not. And it's not going to let you submit it. And you can't save it on the phone and then pick it up somewhere else. It's going to delete. So things I learned the hard way. So be mindful of that when you do your first one, save it and then just check off stuff. So ways to fumble the bag. I'm almost done right here. As a reminder, Cash App, Venmo, because I did put a lot of thought into this. But ways to fumble the bag. Giving false information. So you can give them your real name and all your accurate information. That will help you. It will be concerning if you go in and say your name is Jasmine. You call them and say your name is Jasmine, but when you get there, your ID says Chelsea. Or when you say, well, I'm in the military, but you don't have a military ID, or whatever the case may be. They ask for ID when you go to these places to tour, because they want to verify that you are who you say you are. For obvious reasons, people are concerned about their safety. Do not lie about who you are. Also, give them the accurate phone number to reach you. All they're going to do is call you back and say, hey, are you still interested in renting? Same thing goes for email. They are only going to follow up with you. That is it. You have to be able to report back, because some shops require that you talk about the follow-up. You have to report back on that sometimes. And if they can't reach you, then you're making them look bad, which will make it'll be found out that it was you that made the issue. Having a bad story. So I lived in Mississippi. My story was always that my husband, I would take my ring and put it on my other hand. My husband and I were approved to live off base, and that's why I'm looking for apartments, blah, blah, blah. Or I would say I'm a professor. Whatever the case may be. Make it be something realistic. Don't lie about where you work. You don't have to tell people where you work, but don't lie about where you work, because you never know who knows who and all of that stuff. Also be mindful of asking for Target too soon or too directly. So after you have contacted or tried to make contact with your Target over 2 to 3 times, then you could probably ask for them. But if you keep hanging up and getting off the phone all awkward because you haven't reached your target, people are going to be concerned. A lot of these people who are leasing agents are women. They are always concerned about their safety. They do tours by themselves. You do not want to come off as a weirdo trying to look for a certain person, because they don't know what you're doing. Also, another way to fumble the bag is shopping the wrong Target. So you have a Target named Stacy, and Stacy is not available. You cannot find him. He hasn't picked up the phone. He's not there. You decide to just go do the shop anyway. They will not pay you. If you do not read and follow instructions to the T, you will not get paid. And you will feel shitty because you sat here and filled out this evaluation. You took an hour of your time to go do the tour and you didn't get it. So be mindful of that. Lastly, I try to avoid from making more than $600 a year, or I did try to avoid doing that because I didn't want to report it on my taxes. However, if you want to make more than that, make sure you log everything, your gas mileage and your mileage and your gas, sorry. Just like Uber and Lyft, it is a T99 or 1099 form that you have to complete. So be mindful of that. when you decide to do this. It's the holiday season, so each shop is about $40. And if you do a few shops, you can make some good money for this year. That's all I got. Make sure you send me money, and peace and blessings to you.